Hey guys, this is a video on how to replace the alternator on a 2016 Lexus RX 350. Wasn't going to do a video, don't really do these videos much, but after how long it took me to do this and pull everything off of my Lexus to get to the alternator, I thought, you know what, maybe I should do a video and hopefully it'll help a few guys out there. I don't really do these much, just a shade tree mechanic. I probably did some of these processes wrong, so feel free to tell me differently in the comments if you want to, but here's how I took out my alternator and replaced it in my 2016 Lexus RX 350. Should be the same process all the way up until year 22, and after that's probably different. Here you go. Okay guys, step one, disconnect your positive battery cable, number 12 millimeter bolt there. If you notice, it's dark now, and I started the video in the daylight. It's because I'm doing the whole video in reverse because I didn't start this video until the install process. So I'm going to work backwards here. So really, as the video goes on, it's going to get more and more light outside. But anyway, here's first video, disconnect the battery. Okay guys, plastic shroud that covers all the stuff you need to get to is here. It's just 8 of these little plastic fasteners and clips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's missing. 7 and 8. Put your little screwdriver underneath there. These tabs will pop up. Also, you can just pull up on this. Probably get this out of the way as well. This just pops off. You can pull the whole thing up. Nothing really holding that in. And that'll open up some space for you as well. All right guys, next you've got this 10 mil right here. You gotta loosen this up, and this little cross member that holds your battery in place will kind of just slide off to the side, which will loosen up this right here. You don't actually have to take that off. It's just a little bar holding in place. Once you loosen this up, that'll pop off and slide that over. After your battery is disconnected, you're gonna get rid of this guy here. It's just 2 10 millimeter bolts. One there, one here. Once those are off, that literally just pulls right off. Okay guys, to remove the hood latch, you've got this clip here, you've got a harness here you need to disconnect because this will all come forward. You gotta pop this tab, that tab, and this whole wiring little harness will lay back over there. And then once this is out of the way, you're gonna remove this bolt, which is a 10, and one down inside there, right there, you can kind of see it, and then this one will come after we get this out of the way, all right? Okay, once your hood latch has been disconnected and you've got 1, 2, and the 3rd bolt underneath that holds that in place, you can lay that at the side, and then you can work on this top cross member that holds kind of your radiator and things in place. So you're gonna have 7 bolts here. So 1, 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those 7 bolts hold that whole thing in place. Get those out. Once all your bolts are off of this top piece here that holds everything in place, you can see there's like a little plastic track that they have the hood release in. That can be taken off with just this little keeper here, and that whole thing can come out, and then you just take this entire hood release and kind of fold it over there somewhere out of the way. All right guys, I'm sitting under the car now. Sorry, it's getting dark, so I'm losing some light, but I just want to show you there's about 10 different 10 millimeter bolts that hold bolt screws and keepers that hold this whole section in place. You don't take the whole thing off all the way down. There's a break in it right about here. You can kind of see it naturally. There's a break in the, it's like at an angle, so you can get everything off the driver's side off. And so you've got like one here. Way back there, you've got one there. You've got this is the other side, so you don't need to mess with that one. Oh, there's one up in here. You can't really see it. Sorry, it's dark. There's one up in there. 10 millimeter. There's a screw here. These 2 screws right here that hold this in place. Another one right there. One right there. And you'll see it. Which ones you got to take off. There's some are screws like this one, which go into plastic. The ones that are more like bolts that don't have the screws go into some of the metal up here and hold all this in place. So once all this is off, you can get to the radiator drain line and drain all that. Make sure all that's out of your way. Okay guys, your next step before you can remove all the radiator hoses and get the fan shroud out of the way is you have to drain your fluid. And to get to the fluid, you have to take off this guy here, which is a driver's side, I guess, I don't know, something, I don't even know what you call that. Once you get this off, you can go to the next step, and I'll show you under the car here. Once all that's out, you can see everything underneath here, and then get to the drain line, the radiator drain line. I've got the jack under the car here because you're going to need to get to that. And then here is your radiator drain line. Just twist that a few times. Put something under the car that can catch all your fluid here and keep it if you want to keep it and reuse it, or get new fluid, but that's all has to be drained, and that's how you drain it, that little guy right there. Next up, this hose here, radiator hose, has to be removed. Just some channel locks on that. Push that backwards and that pops right off. This fan has a couple connectors connected to the housing, little clips. So you've got one there, another one, looks like there, one there, and then there's a fourth one down here that I broke off, but that's gotta come off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last bit of this is this guy here goes right into there. So there you have it. I forgot to mention two other connectors. This is was holding one of the, I guess, radiator hoses, whatever you call it, in place. That's connected to the fan shroud. That has to come off right down here in front. And then another connector that had to come off was the other big hose over here. They've got this guy here. Sorry, it's not, but that's connected right here in this part of the fan shroud. Just put that back in place. And then move the light back over for you. And there's just this one that's got to be put back in. That's just clips. So those are holding onto the fan shroud. You won't be able to get it out without removing those two. All right, guys, with our fan shroud kind of resting in the tabs down at the bottom, 1, 2, and 3 down there, it kind of just, it sits kind of like this. So the bottom tabs are in, but nothing's up top. So these top tabs look, look like this. They just, that just snapped in place right there. Let me show you this one. Snaps in place there. And this last one's probably in by now. It's close. Boom, there you go. To get those out, I pretty much just took a pair of pliers, pinched it together, a little flathead, and popped each of those out. So 1, 2, 3 tabs, and that whole thing comes out. Okay, guys, fan shroud has been pulled out. Let me show you all the connectors that go to that. So the bottom just slides in with these 3 tabs. 1, 2, 3. They're not really tabs, they kind of just rest down inside. There's one way down there. Okay, there's one down there. And there's the third one down here. There's no disconnectors down there. It just slides in and out of those and keeps those in place. Your main connectors are the top ones, and I'll show you how to get those off in just a second. Okay, guys, there's about 4 connectors here, all that need to come off to get this alternator off. This first one right there is just, I guess, a main cable. That's a number 10. It's a little stud post. You take that off. There's something here that holds, there's another number 10 right there that holds this clip on. You've got the main, little main harness here. It goes into there. That has to come off. And then you've got one more back down here. You see it there, and that's attached all to this harness. That has to come off. And it all gets held down right here, where my finger is, into that there. Once you get all of them in, button that up back nicely, and that should be everything connected to the alternator. To help have easier access to the alternator, I removed this CPU, I guess is this unit here, or whatever you call this. There's a pin right there. You push, this lifts that up like that, which then pops this off, and I took this and moved it over there. And then once this was disconnected, there's a number 10 right there, a number 10 right here, down there, and there's another one on a stud down to there. So those are the 3 little 10s that hold the CPU in place. Once that's all disconnected, this can be moved kind of off to the side like this, which gives you nice access down into where the alternator and serpentine belt is. Had to remove this radiator hose to access and give more room, which is fine because we've already drained all the fluid. Okay, guys, your next step is to get the tensioner, locate the tensioner, and remove the serpentine belt. So you can see this is your, mine's in already, my new alternator. There it is right there. I'm kind of doing the video backwards, sorry. Here's your, just a standard pulley, and below that pulley is the tensioner pulley. So I've got just an old 14 on there, and you push back towards the wall. So I would use something like this, and then I kind of stick it inside there, and then I push up towards the firewall to release that tensioner. I know it's kind of an old, you probably have a better tool than I do, that all I have is an old little box in 14, so that's what I used. Here's the bolts that hold the alternator in place. These two big ones right here are 14s, and the small one off to the left here is a 12. So long bolt, shorter 14, and then this little one here on the end that goes on the stud on the bracket mount is a 12. Old bracket off. All right, new bracket on. This flat piece goes right up against that. And then you take your 12 and put it right back on just like that. All right, so I'm kind of doing this video in reverse to try to help you. The top bolt, which is the really long one, goes through right here. You can see it on this side over here. That one might get it in place. That one's not the hard one. The bracket that goes back in there really wasn't that hard either with an extension. I'll show you that in just a moment. It's this back one that was giving us the most trouble. I'll try to take you in here and show you. You can kind of see, I'm trying to line up the new one now, but there's the hole. So there's this pulley here. The tensioner is right below that we had to get the belt off with. But that's the bottom hole. That's the bottom 14. That's the one that's going to give you the most trouble. I'm trying to get that line back up now, and I'll show you, but that's the one that has to come off. That's the hardest one to come off. Try to use a couple of different extensions to reach it, but that'll be your most difficult. Okay guys, once again, to get to the 3 bolts, the top one right there is very easy to get to, right? Just a ratchet and your 14, and it goes right in there and fits into there. Super easy. The back one's the hardest one. So you can see I've got it started down in there past that black tubing. You can see where I've got it started, but it's just so tight in there you can't get to it with a ratchet. So I put a 14 on a swivel, and I had my hand down there just twisting it and just rocking this back. I haven't tightened down this top one. I've just been rocking this back and forth until I felt like I kind of got it started. So I think I've got it started down in there, and then once I get it really on, I'll show you how we get it tightened. And then the next step is getting to this. Let me get the light for you 1 second. There it is. You see that post right there? That stud goes through that bracket we put on earlier. So that 12 goes right back on that. So those are your 3 connectors. That once that's out, these things will break free, and so the one in the front, the stud in the back, and then that other thing back there. So there you have it. Also guys, to get that post off, I've got a nice extension here with a deep weld 12 with the post bolt, the stud bolt that goes right in there. I took this, just slid it inside there all the way back to the stud. That's how I got it loose, and that's how I'm gonna put it back on. Gonna throw that bad boy back on. That bad boy back on. Oh yeah, and that guy. That is it.